Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. In the next 2 hours, we're going to embark on a journey that has the potential to reshape every aspect of your life. This isn't about quick fixes or magical solutions. It's about uncovering a simple yet profoundly powerful force that's already at work within you. A force that, once you understand it, will become your greatest ally in building the life you've always wanted. It's time to stop wishing for change and start building it, one intentional step at a time. This is the 21-Day Discipline Plan. Chapter 1. The silent force that shapes your life. Think for a moment about your day yesterday. Not the big, dramatic moments, but the small, seemingly insignificant ones. The way you reached for your phone the second you woke up. The route you took to work. The snack you grabbed when you felt a moment of stress. Each of these actions, no matter how small, was a repetition. They were echoes of yesterday, and they'll be the blueprint for tomorrow. This is the silent force I want to talk about today. The power of repetition. We often believe our lives are shaped by monumental decisions. The job we take, the person we marry, the house we buy. And while those moments are certainly important, they are often the culmination of countless small, repetitive actions. A person who is fit didn't just wake up that way one morning. They consistently chose to exercise and eat well. Someone who is financially stable didn't win the lottery. They made repeated decisions to save and invest. Your character, your skills, your relationships, they are all a tapestry woven from the threads of repetition. But here's the crucial part. This force is neutral. It doesn't care if the action is good or bad. It just works. If you repeatedly engage in self-critical thoughts, your mind gets better at it, creating a deep groove of negativity. If you repeatedly choose to avoid difficult conversations, your ability to communicate effectively atrophies. Repetition is quietly building your future, brick by brick. The question isn't whether you're using this force. The question is, are you using it consciously and intentionally? The goal of this program isn't to add more to your plate, but to help you become the conscious architect of your own repetitions. Chapter 2. Habits, your invisible architects. In the last chapter, we talked about repetition as a silent force. Now, let's give that force a name: habits. Habits are simply repetitions that have become so ingrained in your brain that you perform them almost automatically. They are the invisible architects of your destiny. Think about your daily routine. You probably don't have to consciously think, okay, now I need to brush my teeth, then put on my left sock, then my right sock. These actions are on autopilot. This is your brain's efficiency at its best. It moves these routine tasks to the background so you can free up mental energy for more complex decisions. But this efficiency can be a double-edged sword. Good habits, like a daily morning walk, build momentum and health. Bad habits, like endless scrolling before bed, drain your energy and focus. The key is to recognize that these habits are not permanent fixtures of your personality. They are simply learned patterns of behavior. And anything that is learned can be unlearned and replaced. Your brain is constantly creating and strengthening neural pathways. When you do something for the first time, it's like a small, faint trail in a forest. The more you repeat the action, the more that trail becomes a well-worn path and eventually a superhighway. The goal is to build superhighways for the actions that serve you and let the old, unhelpful trails fade away. Your destiny isn't a mystical, predetermined path. It's a structure you are building every single day, one habit at a time. The choices you make in the next few minutes are adding a new brick to your life's foundation. Are you building a solid, beautiful structure or a crumbling shack? Chapter 3. Why willpower fails without repetition. Let's be honest. We've all been there. New Year's Day, a new gym membership, a journal filled with ambitious goals. For a few days, you're on fire. You're waking up early, working out, eating perfectly. You're fueled by a surge of willpower and motivation. But then, a tough day at work hits. You get a bad night's sleep. And suddenly, that morning workout is the last thing you want to do. You skip it once, and then twice. And before you know it, the new habit has fizzled out. Why does this happen? Because willpower is a finite resource. It's like a muscle that gets fatigued. The more you use it, the more it wears out. Think of it like this. Willpower is the initial burst of energy you need to start a fire. It's powerful, it's necessary, but it's not a sustainable fuel source. The fire itself needs kindling and a steady supply of wood to keep burning. That steady supply is repetition. Repetition turns a conscious, willpower-driven act into a subconscious, automatic habit. When an action becomes a habit, it no longer requires a huge amount of willpower to perform. It just happens. The secret isn't to try and muster more willpower. The secret is to use the willpower you have to perform an action over and over again until it no longer requires willpower at all. The goal is to get to a point where your good habits feel easier to do than to skip. This is the difference between a life of constant struggle and a life of effortless progress. You don't need superhuman willpower to succeed. You just need to show up again and again, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Chapter 4. The Science of Doing It Again and Again. You might be wondering, what's actually happening inside my brain when I repeat an action? Let's take a peek behind the curtain. Our brain is a marvel of plasticity. It's constantly changing and adapting based on our experiences. When you perform a new action, a tiny spark of a new neural connection is formed. This connection is fragile, like a faint path in the snow. Now here's the magic of repetition. Every single time you repeat that action, you strengthen that connection. This process is called myelination. Think of myelin as a sort of fatty insulation that wraps around your neural pathways. The more you repeat an action, the thicker this myelin sheath becomes. A thick myelin sheath allows the electrical signals in your brain to travel faster and more efficiently down that particular pathway. This is why a practiced skill, like tying your shoes or typing on a keyboard, feels so automatic. The pathway is so well insulated and efficient that the action requires minimal conscious effort. This is the science behind why consistency beats intensity. You could spend 10 hours in a single day practicing a new language and burn yourself out. Or you could spend 20 minutes every day for 30 days, and your brain will have built a far stronger, more durable network of language learning pathways. This is because repetition, over time, physically rewires your brain. You are literally building the architecture of your future self with every action you take. The good news is, your brain is ready and waiting for you to start building. It's a tool that is exquisitely designed for this very purpose. The question is, what will you tell it to build today? Chapter 5. Small Wins, Big Transformations. Many of us get stuck in the cycle of all or nothing thinking. We want to run a marathon, so we plan a 5-mile run on day 1 and then burn out before we even begin. We want to write a book, so we try to write a whole chapter in one sitting and then get frustrated and give up. The problem isn't our lack of ambition, it's our scale. We're trying to make a quantum leap when we should be taking a single step. This is where the power of micro-habits comes in. A micro-habit is a tiny, ridiculously easy version of the habit you actually want to build. For example, if you want to start a journaling practice, a micro-habit could be, I will write 1 sentence in my journal every morning. If you want to exercise more, a micro-habit could be, I will do 1 push-up every day. This sounds almost silly, I know. But here's why it's so powerful. It's too small to fail. It removes the friction and the intimidation. It's not about the 1 push-up. It's about the act of showing up. It's about establishing the repetition and building the neural pathway we talked about earlier. Once you have that micro-habit ingrained, you can gradually increase it. That 1 push-up can become 2, then 5, then 10. That 1 sentence can become a paragraph, then a page. This is how you harness the compound effect. Each small win builds momentum, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment. It's not about willpower. It's about making the right choice so easy that you can't say no. Don't underestimate the power of a small, consistent action. A single drop of water might seem insignificant, but a continuous stream can carve a canyon out of solid rock. Your small, repeated actions have the same power. Chapter 6. Breaking bad loops. So far, we've focused on building new, positive repetitions. But what about the habits that are holding us back? The ones that feel like a comfortable but destructive old sweater. The late-night TV binges, the mindless social media scrolling, the procrastination that steals our peace. These aren't just one-off actions. They are entrenched behavioral loops, and you can't just stop them by force of will. You have to actively break the loop and replace it with something better. Every habit loop has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is the trigger, a certain time of day, a location, an emotion. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is the positive feeling or outcome you get from the routine. For example, you have a stressful day at work, the cue. You go home and zone out on the couch watching TV, the routine, and you feel a temporary sense of escape and relief, the reward. To break this, you don't fight the cue, you change the routine. Here's the powerful part. The cue and the reward are often deeply connected. The desire for that sense of relief is real. But the routine, the TV binging, is just one way to get it. You can train yourself to get that same reward through a different, healthier routine. When you feel that cue of stress, instead of hitting the couch, try a short walk, listen to a podcast, or call a friend. You're still getting the reward of stress relief, but you're now building a new, more productive repetition. It might feel awkward at first, like wearing a new pair of shoes, but with conscious effort and repetition, this new routine will become just as automatic as the old one. The key is to be intentional about your substitutions. Don't just remove a bad habit. Replace it. Chapter 7. The 21-Day Myth and the Truth Beyond. You've probably heard the idea that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. It's a compelling and neat concept, a perfect little box to put our ambitions in. The problem is, it's more of a myth than a scientific fact. Research suggests the time it takes to form a habit can vary wildly from person to person and from habit to habit. Some simple habits, like drinking a glass of water after you wake up, might take just a few weeks. But more complex habits, like exercising every day or writing for an hour, can take 2 months, 3 months, or even longer. So, why bring up the 21-day myth? Because it contains a powerful and often misunderstood truth. The truth isn't the number itself, but the underlying principle. Repetition creates momentum. The first few weeks of any new habit are the hardest. You're fighting against a lifetime of old programming. But as you push through, you're not just building a habit, you're building confidence. You're proving to yourself that you are capable. The real benefit of a 21-day plan is that it gives you a concrete goal to aim for. It's a short enough time frame to feel achievable, but long enough to create a solid foundation. So, let's use the 21 days not as a finish line, but as a launch pad. The goal isn't to be perfect for 21 days. The goal is to show up, learn, and iterate. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day. The key isn't perfection, it's consistency. Think of the 21 days as your chance to build a runway so your new habit can eventually take flight. Chapter 8. Turning pain into practice. Life is not a smooth, uninterrupted road. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of pain, failure, and discouragement. A difficult workout where your muscles scream, a project at work that gets rejected, a tough conversation that doesn't go as planned. In these moments, it's easy to want to retreat, to give up on our goals. But what if we could use these moments not as reasons to quit, but as fuel for our practice? This is the chapter about repetition in the face of adversity. Think about a boxer. They don't just train when they feel good. They get up and train after a tough loss, after a bad day, and when their body is sore. Why? Because they understand that the pain is part of the practice. It's in the repetition of getting back up, of pushing through discomfort, that true strength is built. The muscle fibers don't grow stronger in the gym. They grow stronger in the recovery, after they have been broken down. The same principle applies to our mental and emotional lives. When you face a moment of failure, The repetition of your planned positive habit is more important than ever. That's not the time to give up. That's the time to double down. If you're a writer who just received a rejection, the most powerful thing you can do is sit down and write again. If you're an entrepreneur whose product failed, the most powerful thing you can do is repeat the process and start over. The pain is the signal that you are growing, that you are stretching beyond your current limits. Don't run from the pain. Channel it into your practice. Your consistent repetition in the face of struggle is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The compound effect in action. We've talked about small wins and micro habits. Now, let's connect the dots to see their true potential through the concept of the compound effect. It's an idea most commonly associated with finances, but its principles apply to every area of your life. The idea is simple. Small, consistent actions compounded over time lead to massive, often exponential results. Imagine 3 people starting a journey. Person A decides to lose 1 pound a week. Person B decides to do nothing. Person C decides to eat just 100 extra calories a day. On day 1, you can't tell the difference between them. On day 30, the difference is still negligible. But fast forward a year, person A is 52 pounds lighter. Person C has gained over 10 pounds. The choices seemed insignificant on a daily basis, but the small, repeated action of each day created a huge and undeniable outcome. The compound effect is a powerful yet silent force. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results from your repetitions. You exercise for a week and the scale doesn't budge. You save money for a month and your bank account looks the same. But that's the point. The change is happening below the surface, like a seed germinating in the soil. It's invisible until it's not. Trust the process. The 1 push-up a day, the $5 you save, the 1 page you read, these are not insignificant. They are the seeds of your future. Your job is to water them with consistent repetition and give them time to grow. Chapter 10. Resilience through routine. Life is unpredictable. There will be unexpected job changes, health scares, and personal challenges that can rock your world. In these moments of chaos, it's easy to lose your footing and feel adrift. This is when the true power of routine reveals itself. A strong routine is not a cage. It's a lifeboat. It's the structure you can rely on when everything else feels uncertain. Think about a pilot. In a crisis, they don't panic and try to invent new procedures. They fall back on their training, on the countless hours of repeated routines they've practiced. Their calm repetition in the face of turmoil is what gets the plane safely on the ground. Your daily routine can be that same anchor for you. When the world around you is in flux, your morning ritual of a cup of tea and 5 minutes of meditation can be the rock you stand on. Your commitment to a daily walk, no matter what happens, can be the one thing you can count on. These routines provide a sense of control and normalcy in moments when you have none. They build resilience, the ability to recover from setbacks and adapt to change. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle you build through the repetition of your habits, especially in times of stress. Don't wait for a crisis to build your routines. Build them now so they're strong and ready when you need them most. Chapter 11. The role of environment in repetition. We often think of discipline as a purely internal battle, a contest between our will and our desires. But this perspective ignores one of the most powerful forces at play, our environment. Your environment is not just the physical space around you. It's the people you spend time with, the information you consume, and the systems you've created for yourself. It's an invisible hand that's either pushing you toward your goals or pulling you away from them. Think about a person trying to eat healthier. If their kitchen is full of junk food, they're setting themselves up for a constant battle of willpower. If they have to drive past their favorite fast food restaurant on the way home every day, they are building a queue for an unhealthy routine. But what if they took a different approach? What if they stocked their fridge with healthy snacks and changed their route home? Suddenly, The environment is working for them, not against them. Your physical and social environments are constantly reinforcing your repetitions. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. If you want to exercise, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to be more positive, spend time with people who lift you up. Design your space to make the right choices easy and the wrong choices difficult. This isn't about being lazy. It's about being smart. You are the product of your systems. By intentionally designing your environment, you can create a powerful feedback loop that makes your desired repetitions almost effortless. Your future self is shaped by the space you inhabit today. Chapter 12. The Momentum Mindset. Starting a new habit can feel like trying to push a boulder up a hill. It's difficult, slow, and requires immense effort. But once that boulder reaches the top and starts rolling down the other side, it gains momentum. The same is true for your habits. The initial effort is the hardest part. Once you've built a solid base of repetitions, you'll discover the incredible power of momentum. Momentum is the feeling that your new habit is easier to continue than it is to stop. It's the point where you actually look forward to your morning run, or you feel a sense of satisfaction in checking off your daily task. It's no longer a chore. It's a part of who you are. This is the momentum mindset. It's the belief that your small, consistent actions are building an unstoppable force. To build this mindset, you have to celebrate your small wins. Don't wait for the big accomplishment. Acknowledge and appreciate the fact that you showed up today. That small celebration releases dopamine, which reinforces the habit loop and makes you more likely to repeat the action tomorrow. Think of momentum as a flywheel. The first push is the hardest, but with each successive push, the wheel spins faster and faster until it's moving on its own. Your job is to keep pushing, especially when it's difficult, because you know that with every push, you're building a force that will eventually carry you forward with very little effort. Chapter 13. Repetition in relationships. When we talk about repetition, we often focus on personal habits like exercise or meditation. But the power of repetition is just as profound, if not more so, in our relationships. A strong relationship isn't built on a single grand gesture. It's built on 1,000 small, repeated actions of kindness, trust, and communication. Think about the foundation of trust. It's built every time you show up when you say you will. It's reinforced every time you listen without judgment. It's nurtured every time you offer a word of encouragement. These aren't big, dramatic moments. They are the small, daily repetitions of being a reliable and supportive person. And just as positive repetitions build a strong foundation, negative ones can slowly erode it. A repeated pattern of broken promises, a sarcastic comment said again and again, or a consistent lack of communication can chip away at the trust and intimacy you've built. The good news is, you can be intentional about this. You can decide to make a habit of telling a loved one you appreciate them. You can make a habit of carving out a few minutes each day to genuinely connect. You can choose to repeat actions that build respect and understanding. These small, consistent efforts are far more powerful than a sporadic, over-the-top display of affection. Repetition in relationships isn't about monotony. It's about reliability. It's about showing up, again and again, to build something that lasts. Chapter 14. When repetition becomes mastery. There's a difference between mindless repetition and deliberate practice. Mindless repetition is doing the same thing over and over without paying attention, like idly strumming a guitar without a goal. Deliberate practice, on the other hand, is focused, intentional repetition with the goal of improvement. This is where repetition transcends habit and becomes mastery. A true master, whether a musician, an athlete, or a writer, isn't someone who just repeats the same easy tasks. They are someone who consistently pushes themselves just outside their comfort zone, identifies their weaknesses, and then repeats the difficult parts until they become second nature. They are constantly seeking feedback, adjusting their approach, and repeating the cycle. They understand that progress isn't a straight line. It's a spiral of constant refinement. The journey from learner to master is a journey of intentional repetition. It's about a daily commitment to not just show up, but to show up with the intention of getting better. It's the difference between running the same route every day and actively trying to improve your form or your time. It's the difference between writing pages of filler and rewriting a single sentence until it's perfect. Mastery is not a destination. It's a process. And that process is fueled by the powerful engine of deliberate, consistent, and focused repetition. Chapter 15. Living the Power of Repetition. We've now come full circle. We started by uncovering the silent force of repetition and its role in shaping our lives. We explored how habits are the architects of our destiny and why consistency beats willpower. We looked at the science of rewiring our brains, the power of small wins, and the importance of routine in times of chaos. We've seen how repetition builds momentum, strengthens our relationships, and leads us on the path to mastery. You now have a powerful understanding of this principle, but knowledge is not enough. The key to living the power of repetition is to start. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel motivated. Pick one tiny habit, a single action you want to repeat, and start today. Just one push-up, 1 minute of meditation, one sentence in a journal. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to show up. Your life isn't a single event. It's a series of moments, a collection of choices repeated over and over again. You are the artist, and your daily repetitions are your brushstrokes. Every single day, you are adding to the masterpiece that is your life. What kind of picture do you want to create? The power to transform your life is not a distant goal. It's a choice you can make right now. So, make that choice. Start small, stay consistent, and trust in the incredible power of doing it again and again. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now go live the life you're building.